Well, hello there, YouTube. Yep, it's me again, but it's from a different perspective. You know, because we're getting ready to start assembling the engine, and I felt that it was necessary to, maybe get some multi-cameras involved and, go wireless mic. This is stuff I had laying around because at the beginning of the pandemic, we had to do some of our comedy shows online, so I kind of got all this stuff. So anyway, let's start out. So it's, it's Thursday, March 17th, just a couple of days after my last video. And, and I'm going to show you before I do anything, I always check at least until I get 100 subscribers. But let's go ahead and bring you guys into this whole picture. So, there's my web page right there. And let's bring me in. That's awesome, isn't it? So let's go to my home here, and it says 60. Let's see if I got any more. Nope, I got 60. So last time it was 59, so I got one more subscriber. Well, thank you there, one more subscriber. We're going to have a fun ride, I guarantee it. I mean, look what I'm doing. So now I can see what you guys see on the screen, but what's most important is that we can do things like that, right? I can go ahead and show you what's going on right at the moment. You don't need to see my phone. So not only do I have that, but, because it's multi-camera, right? So we have that camera, which is this camera, and then this camera, which is above me. It's right here, well, kind of above me, but straight down. And then we have my iPad. But the beautiful part about this iPad thing is we can do something like that. Currently, what I've been doing is I've been going to my office, looking up the information, printing it out, and then coming out here and pointing it out. It seemed to be kind of ridiculous, right? It's a lot of extra steps for nothing. So I had this ATEM switcher and all that, and I thought, well, what if I just brought everything together so at least I don't have to go back and forth, and I don't have to keep setting up cameras. So I'd set up a camera for the intro, then I'd set up a camera to do the actual shot, like this, for example. But I even have another camera that I can work with, too, so I can really surround whatever it is that we're doing. In addition, there's another feature with, this being my iPad, is that we can go ahead, I could say, for example, we can go in there and then zoom up on something, right? It just makes it more portable for me. I mean, look at that. How else are you going to be able to do something like that? And so easily, right? So I just thought, and then I can even take a picture of it all right there, and then everything's there. I don't have to go back there or download it, and try to put everything together after the fact and try to remember what it is that I need. This time here, all I do is just do my thing here, and we'll go that way. So there you go. That's what I've been working on the last day because I'm still waiting on parts. I'm waiting on parts, and I don't have my head. I have all the parts for my heads, but I don't have my other head. So there's no sense in putting one together and then setting it aside and starting at it. So it's just about parts. These little tests that I'm doing is really filler, but it's documentation, right? So this one here is bench testing the alternator. All right, I'm finally going to get back on subject. This video is about bench testing the alternator. As far as I know, my alternator worked just fine, right? I didn't have any problems, but we don't know for sure, so there's certain little tests that we do. We can do a real quick little diode test to make sure that traffic is going one way and not the other. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes you come out to your car and it's draining and things like that. So just little things like that. Just want to see the shorts. Just get a basic idea, make sure it spins, and then, of course, make sure the connections are good. And then I use some that special grease before I put any of the connectors together. That's just kind of how I do things. But yeah, so this is how I do it, not the way that I've ever done it. This is the first time I've ever done it. But I know how the things work, so that's why it's done this way. I think my next one is just going to be bench testing the AC compressor clutch. Nothing special. It works just like the other clutch that I just did in the video. So it's, you know, you don't have to watch it. That's all I'm saying. I'm documenting it, right? Everything I'm going through. So that way there at the end I say, well, geez, how come that didn't work? Well, it's because you didn't test it. So this way here I know that I've tested it. So, and it's, you know, so does anybody else. Maybe if I sell this car, right, it's going to be the most documented car in the world, probably. Let's see, is there anything else? So I don't think there's really anything else. But, you know, the products and stuff that I use really is just what I use, what I have in my little garage here. And but I put links to what I use in the description. So, well, let's just get this video going, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. The alternator. Now, all I'm going to do is clean it up. I'm not going to paint it. I'm not going to do anything to it. It was working before, as far as I know. I just want to clean up the bracket, clean the terminals, make sure that they're good. You know, I think that right before I purchased it, it came out of the junkyard. So I want to see if I can get these paint off, so at least it looks like it belongs in the car instead of belongs in the junkyard. In order to clean these terminals, I'm just taking some 220 and using something the width of that, a little bit smaller, and using that as a backer. And then you can do that. And there it is, ready to go. Now, I didn't have a problem touching things because this thing's not original to the car. I did get most of the paint off. There's a little bit right there I could mess with if I cared. But before we put this away, we want to make sure, of course, that it works and functions. Now, we know it was in the car, so we kind of know that it really works. But it's been years and years and years, so, you know, I wanted to check that bearing, make sure, you know, that it's, you know, doesn't wobble back and forth. I have no end play. I don't have any kind of play like that. Make sure it turns freely and all that feels great. So maybe my next little test would be just to test the diode. And that's just basically, it's like a one-way valve that, because the battery gets hooked up to this B right here. All right, that's where the battery would hook up right there. And you can see those two actually are joined together. All right, so, but that's the battery side of things. So what I want to do is I just want to test that that little valve works properly, that it only allows the battery, you know, to go one way, right? So this can charge the battery. We don't want our alternator to actually drain our battery, right? Because the battery's actually hooked up. So, so we're going to test this on diode mode. And so right there with a little symbol. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we'll do it that way. The positive, and put it on ground. Take the negative and put it on that B and see what you get. Now I've got 957. Oh, my arm's in the way. Sorry, guys. So that's 957. Now, let's reverse this. I'll put my black now on ground and hit B. And you see how we don't read anything. So we know that that worked. We know that the valve itself works, okay? So that's test number one. We tested to make sure our bearing's good. We don't have any wobble in our shaft and all that kind of stuff. You can even do this at a junkyard. So that's a real quick thing. So this is your regulator right here. That's what this is. I don't know if we can actually test that. We'll see. I think so. And this right here is your suppression capacitor. I'm not quite sure what that function is, but I cleaned up all these terminals, as you know. So the next test that we're going to do now is let's just test to make sure this thing can generate electricity. Get yourself a 12-volt light, and you know, this has two filaments in it, so I had to choose which filament. And I connected one side to ground and one side to one of those filaments, right? And my first connection, it doesn't really matter what side because this bulb will light up either way. But I'm on the ground side. And I'm going to put that on this other side, not on the B+, not on this B+ side, not here, not on these two big ones, but you put this one. That's why I made an actual plug, because it won't fit this. So I can plug that on there, and now it's all insulated and all by itself. So put one half of the light bulb there, and the other half of the light bulb, I kind of use the big clip, and we'll put that, let's back that up, on that B side, right there. Right? That's where I'm going to hook up the other side of the light bulb. And since those two posts are joined, as I said, I'm going to actually go right to this one right here. Just because it's insulated really well with this other plug we just put in there, and I don't have to worry about this accidentally grounding out against the case by plugging into that other one there, okay? I'm using a battery charger, okay? But it's got multiple levels and it also has a charge cycle. So I want to just test to see what this Harbor Freight, or it says 6 volts, right? But it's probably testing at the proper part, which is 8.37. Alright, so that's what it's set at. Now, if we take our positive and hook it on the positive side, alright, let's see if our light bulb now comes on. We're going to just hit this to ground, okay? There, our light bulb came on. Let's see if we can grab a hold of it even here. Alright. So I'm going to turn this so we can get to it. Now that we know that the light bulb comes on, I'm going to hook up my multimeter on the battery side. And then I'm going to hook up on my negative side this. And you can see I've got some drop because I'm going through everything. So we're showing 8.06, right? 07. So that's our volts. This is a 22 millimeter. So now let's see if that our light bulb goes out. That'll tell us that one-way stuff. And we'll also see probably if our regulator will keep it under like 15 volts or something. I don't know what the limits are. It's still on because it's not calling for the power yet. I don't have enough. There it is. Can you hear my drill go under low? But the drill can't go fast enough. So let me see if I can get a faster drill. Alright, 8.07. Let's see what happens. Well, 14 through 7 and our light's out, right? See, there's no load. Watch. Hear that? Load up. There you go, it's under load. But that regulator's keeping her under, right? There you go. I would say that that alternator is good and ready to be installed back into the car.